All right, this one makes me angry. When you go on Coinbase, you click on an asset you might be interested in. They have an analytics section where it gives you both the bullish aspect of that blockchain and also the bearish aspects, which makes a lot of sense. There are no perfect blockchains. This is the point of design. There's always a trade off for anything you're trying to do. And it's not the fact there's bearish things about XRP. We understand that. There is for, again, all crypto assets. It's number one on the list here that I've circled. That Ripple faces persistent criticism by blockchain purists that the method used to process transactions is not secure enough. We're talking about the consensus mechanism. What bizarro world are they living in? Now, if they're talking about back in the day when crypto investors thought you had to be proof of work, because that was the thing. In 2017, if you weren't proof of work, you weren't real blockchain. That was a wrong outlook. But if that's what they're talking about, then I better see that same disclosure on Ethereum, Cardano, Solana, and pretty much the whole space, because nothing is proof of work any longer. We were actually right about this. For most blockchains, consensus, proof of stake, some other type of setup was going to be the correct one. So what are they talking about? If you really analyze things in terms of what is least likely to have a double spend or some sort of fraud, consensus is it, man. This is one of the most secure methods of running a blockchain. And that's what angers me. If you are, just sifting through different crypto assets and maybe you don't know about consensus and the way the XRP Ledger functions, and you read that, I'm telling you right now, I'm skipping right over this blockchain. I don't want something that's not secure, that there's going to be double spends. Like, what are they saying here? What is their, basis for this? I'm sorry, we need a little more explanation because it's just so, separated from reality. Now, when you go through the rest of the list, Ripple has too much of the supply. That's a real risk. You have to analyze that and work that into your investment thesis. It's kind of like Tesla. Elon Musk has too much of the stock and his friends and family are on the board. Like, it's an extra risk you got to factor in there. Number two, Ripple won summary judgment, but it could be appealed. Okay, fine. That's a statement of fact, of reality. And lastly, we haven't had a lot of adoption when compared to things like Ethereum. And specifically, they should put on there with kind of retail use cases. And I think that's fair as well. I think that'll improve, but that would be on the bearish outlook. Fine. But saying consensus is not secure, that's nuts. It probably is, again, the most secure, the least likely to have a double spend, things of that nature. When we go over to Ethereum, we see it's not a proof of work, and it does not say that. Its risk factors are intense competition. I've talked about that. Everyone's going for smart contracts. All your major, blockchains out there are trying to compete with Ethereum. Very valid risk. Ethereum's fees can spike during, peak demand, things of this nature. And so that's a problem. And we see during bull runs when there's a lot of craziness going on, people start pivoting to other blockchains. You saw Binance chain get very popular last run because of that. And so that'll probably continue to happen, and that helps fuel your competitors. And lastly, the setup of, you have this very complicated setup with multiple layer twos and things like that. That's their roadmap going forward. We know it's a multi-chain future, but for your blockchain, should it spread across multiple blockchains? And they use Solana as an example here, that it doesn't have this type of setup. It's all done on the main chain. Again, we can argue about it, but a lot of people see that as a bearish setup. So, again, I don't see anything that's really out of line here, but this one, and again, they only have 3 things here for Ethereum, fine. But it's just like they had to throw some extra nonsense on here, and I really want to hear what they're talking about. Maybe they're talking about the voting mechanism for the XRP Ledger, where you have 34 hero validators that get the right to vote, but that's not the consensus mechanism. That's just the way that's been set up to try to make sure you have control over some of the features that roll out. I don't know. I cannot tell you what this would be talking about. I wish I could. I wish I could say, well, they're wrong, but this is what they're looking at. I have no idea. This is such a nonsensical thing. And when you look at the top coins, there's nothing that's this off. There's nothing that's this wrong that says, hey, this blockchain's not secure. That's something you need to worry about. You don't see that when you look at other major blockchains. That's like the kiss of death. That's the worst thing you can put on someone's profile, that you're your blockchain's not secure. That's ridiculous, and they need to fix this or give us some more info. What are you talking about? Are you referring to the voting mechanisms? What is it? Because the actual functionality of the XRP Ledger is very secure. Shame on you, Coinbase. Let me know what you think down below. As always, please like, please subscribe. The revolution will be televised right here on Jungle Link.